This week, it is with great pleasure that I introduce our keynote speaker for the week, and that's Stuart. Stuart is from Seven Stevenson's Mortgage Originator. He went to Rondebosch Boys School and graduated from UCT. And to his detriment, he says he supports the Stormers. I don't know why, but he does. Stuart has been in the banking industry since 1978, where he's held many positions in the banking industry, including being Manager of Management Education for the Standard Bank Group and the National Home Loans Manager. Seven Seasons has been operating since 2003, and he's won many national mortgage originator awards. Stuart is married to Anne, and earlier this year, they celebrated their 40th wedding anniversary. Congratulations. And then Stuart and Anne are well qualified and have the required experience and academic qualifications that enable them to operate efficiently and professionally. It gives me great pleasure to introduce Stuart this morning.
Thank you, Helen. Yes, it's me, Stuart Shepherd from Seven Seasons Mortgage Originators. In the 1980s, Clem Santo was mentioning this and saying that a successful country needs to have a strong middle class and citizens need to feel part of their country. And one of the ways, if we can have a look at the next slide, one of the ways of feeling part of your country is to put down some roots and buy a home of your own. And it is true that your home is where your heart is. Now, if you're wanting to buy a property, it's quite unusual that somebody will be able to pay cash for that. So you then need to get a loan. And one of the ways of getting a home loan is to go through a mortgage originator. So if we have a look at the next slide and just see, what does a mortgage originator do? Well, a mortgage originator really is just a fancy name for somebody who applies for a home loan for a buyer. What the originator does is he gets all the information, puts it together in a pack that's well presented to a bank with a good motivation, and gets approvals from the different banks. The buyer then chooses the best deal that's available to him in the market. So the buyer isn't told what to do. The buyer chooses the deal he wants, but he's presented with the best deals that are available to him. And now, if we have a look at the next slide, what happens sometimes is there are some people who, if they have a sore tooth, they want to pull it out themselves. If they're wanting to have their car serviced, they want to do their own motor car service. So some people decide they want to go on their own to a bank to apply. If you do that, you can only phone the call center and speak to the person at the bottom of the pile, or what you can do is you can go into the branch and see somebody in the branch of your bank. Both of those people don't have anything to do with that home loan application. You can't get to the head of pricing, you can't get to the head of credit, you can't get to the national manager. You're dealing with someone who passes that information on. If, however, you then decide, well, maybe I should go to another bank, you've got to take that whole stack of documentation and go off to another bank and spend another 1.5 to 2 hours at that second bank. So if you decide to go to all 4 banks on your own, that'll probably take you about 8 hours plus some traveling time. So that'll be 2 days that you spend trying to get your application into the banking system. Now, that's really a bit of a waste of effort. If you have a look at the next slide, you'll see one of the problems is that the banks will accept information via only one channel. So it's like a little single lane bridge. So if somebody goes and applies on their own at a bank, and then says, look, I'm having trouble and I can't get my loan through because he can't get to someone who can unblock it for him, and then says, can you perhaps help me? He actually can't be helped by somebody else because the application is already in the banking system through another channel, and the banks will then decline any subsequent application as a duplication. So if we're saying, well, you should go and use a mortgage originator, if we look at the next slide, let's just see then, is a mortgage originator going to be any useful going to them, and are they successful? Well, the little graph on the right-hand side, that bar line going up, that's a 47% success rate, and that's actually how successful somebody is when they apply on their own for a home loan. Our success rate is currently 89%. So if you're wanting to apply for a home loan, presumably you want to get a good answer. So if you can get the best deals that are available in the market, choose which one you want, get it all for free, and have an 89% success rate as opposed to a 47% success rate, it seems like a bit of a no-brainer somehow. So let's have a look and see on our next slide what our ideal referral would be. Thank you. It's either somebody who's in the market to buy and says, look, I'm thinking of buying, and will you prepare all the stuff for me in advance so that when I do find something, then... Or someone who contacts us and says, I've just signed an offer to purchase at the weekend, and will you apply for a loan for me, please? But he mustn't have applied somewhere else, because remember, they accept an application through only one channel. We need someone who earns enough money. You need 30,000 Rand for every 1 million Rand of home loan that you want. So if you have a home loan of 1 million already and you want another home loan for another 1 million, then you need to earn 60,000, because there'll be 2 million Rands worth of exposure. Also, banks do give 100% loans, but ideally it's good if you have a 10% deposit, because the norm is that the banks want to give 90% loans, and it's a pity to lose a house because you don't have a deposit. So an ideal referral is someone who has that. And then an applicant, but you're probably going to do it wrong again in the future. So they want people who have good records. And if you're self-employed, like many of us, please, you need to show your affordability. And if you say you earn 40,000 Rand a month, they'll probably ask you for your IT34. And if your tax summary shows you're only earning 5,000 Rand a month, the bank's going to say, well, then we can't verify your 40,000 that you're looking for. So those are our ideal referrals. And we would really love to help you. If we can just look at our last little slide, we have the experience, we have the qualifications, and there's Annie and me with one of the awards that we recently won. We would really love to help people that you know who are in the market to buy property, and we'd love to help them with their home loans. It's Stuart Shepherd of 7 Seasons Mortgage Originators. Thank you, everybody.